Happening now, discussions on providing gas tax relief in Chautauqua County take a step forward, and the push to save a sinking World War II ship in our region. We hear about the proposed federal money that could help. Plus, a local institution dedicated to the Nuremberg trial speaks with us as we compare what's happening now in Ukraine.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Our latest local news is coming up, but first, let's get a check of our weather forecast today. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter standing by with that. And the big story of the day right now, Dakota, is this winter weather that we had last night and now subsequently some pretty gusty winds out there.
Yes, it is feeling more like December out there. That's a live look over the Chautauqua Institution Skycam, and you can see the snow falling out there right now, and even radar is showing you that. That's that band of snow that we're continuing to deal with basically through the western southern tier, and we're going to continue to deal with this snow through the afternoon hours. So understand the snow's not going away for today, but it is breezy. We have a wind advisory in place until 8 o'clock tonight for all of the southern tier. Wind gusts could be around 45 to 50 miles an hour. The strongest wind gusts are actually going to be on the hilltops. Only 39 yesterday. That's 20 degrees below normal. There's the forecast for you. Just scattered snow showers. The hills could see upwards of 4 inches of new snowfall accumulations. The actual air temperature is 33 to 40 with wind gusts again around 40 to 50 miles an hour. But spring arrives by the end of the week. We'll talk about where those temperatures are headed with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show, so stay with us.
All righty, Dakota, can't wait to see the relief. Thank you, sir. And speaking of relief, a push to provide a gas tax relief in Chautauqua County took a step forward yesterday, with local lawmakers diving deeper into the issue. The Chautauqua County Legislature's Administrative Services Committee discussed a push by the local Democratic caucus to reduce the county's gas tax. In New York's recently passed state budget, 8 cents per gallon from the motor fuel tax and 8 cents a gallon from the state sales tax were removed. Legislation passed at the state level also allows localities to remove the county's share of the tax. However, in Chautauqua County, officials are eyeing a fixed rate instead of a fixed percentage, as County Attorney Stephen Abdella explains.
Instead of doing a fixed percentage rate, instead fix a certain amount per gallon, similar to what the state does. And what it comes out to be for us is we could fix it at 8 cents a gallon, we could fix it at 12 cents a gallon, or we could fix it at 16 cents a gallon.
Skyrocketing prices have let off a bit over the past month here in Chautauqua County. In March, at this time, the average price at the pump was $4.33 a gallon. As of Tuesday, prices are now down to $4.16 a gallon. That's a 17-cent drop. A 34-year-old man is facing several charges after police allegedly found several children living in his Lakewood home littered with hypodermic needles throughout. The Lakewood Bus-Dive Police, while assisting New York State Parole, performed a home check around 9 in the morning Monday on Pablo Figueroa. Inside his house, police allegedly found methamphetamine, scales, and packaging materials. Additionally, officers say numerous hypodermic needles were also spread throughout that residence, which had many children living there. Figueroa has since been charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance along with endangering the welfare of a child. It's unclear how many children specifically were staying inside that home or if child services were contacted by police. A local historical institution is keeping a close eye on the war in Ukraine and Russian war crimes, explaining the global crisis through a historical lens. Our Julia Gress with the feature.
Kristen McMahon, president of the Robert H. Jackson Center, explained why remembering the history of the Frewsburg native and Nuremberg trial chief of counsel is so relevant today in understanding exactly what a war crime is.
He helped establish the crimes that were actually prosecuted there. He helped define those crimes, and those are still the same, largely the same crimes that someone would be prosecuted under today.
The center participates in the International Humanitarian Law Roundtable, which brings together prosecutors to discuss the challenges they are facing. They also host guest speakers, including the most recent, David Crane.
David Crane was actually the only other U.S. citizen who has ever been a chief prosecutor of an international tribunal, a founding chief prosecutor. And David was the chief prosecutor for the international trial at Sierra Leone. And that's actually called the UN Special Court for Sierra Leone.
The speaker also discussed the Russian aggression in Ukraine and how he would go about putting Vladimir Putin on trial. Crane, along with a group, released a white paper with a sample indictment. McMahon says that regardless of his physical presence at a trial, Putin could still be indicted and tried.
Having the number of countries that have come out and said that what President Putin has done is a war crime also really limits his freedom of movement. And to have the international community say this, the United States, most of the European nations, it's obviously very broad in that, really then limits his ability to go anywhere outside of Russia.
If indicted, Putin's effectiveness as a leader would significantly decrease, as his attendance at any major international summit would lead to his arrest. McMahon explained the major tenets of international war crimes, with the main rule being that civilians are off limits.
They are not combatants. They have not chosen to be a participant in this. This is something that has been forced upon them. And so especially the fact that the Russian forces seem to be targeting the evacuation routes, they are targeting the hospitals, they are targeting the schools. All of that seems to really bring into play, I would think, that he is ignoring that tenet of international law, and that brings it into the war crime.
Using the Nuremberg trials as a guide, McMahon says it is likely that Putin's high-ranking followers would also be indicted. However, it is likely that many do not know the truth behind the war.
The propaganda machine within Russia especially is very strong. And if that has been your only source of news for X number of years, when you think that Russia annexed the Crimea almost 8 years ago, so this has been a condition of at least the last 8 years, if not longer, of Ukraine should be part of Russia. Russia's only doing what it can to support the Russian citizens within Ukraine. And if that is the only news that you are hearing on a continuous basis, of course that's what you're going to believe because you've never seen the other side of it.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. The center hopes to educate people on the crisis and similar historical events to encourage continued support for Ukraine. And U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer is calling for federal support to save a World War II-era naval destroyer now sinking into Lake Erie. Last week, the USS The Sullivans, an exhibit at the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park, began sinking following a serious hull breach. On Monday, Schumer visited the site, calling for an all-hands-on-deck plan to save the iconic landmark. The Senate Majority Leader is calling for congressionally directed spending to provide fiscal relief to assess damage of the ship. He's also calling on the Environmental Protection Agency to work with local leaders to help address cleanup issues like oil that might be polluting the waters during the hull breach. Finally, the senator says that he'll be pushing for a major increase to the National Maritime Heritage Grant Program in this year's National Defense Authorization Act, so that the USS The Sullivans can not only apply, but receive more funding from the program than ever before. As WNY News Now continues, what environmental conservation projects across New York will be receiving millions of dollars in grant funding. And a little bit later on, landlords learning more about new requirements if they received aid to help with rent. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Visit the Northwest Arena on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer. Learn about activities available to youth in the Jamestown area, plus end the night with fireworks at the Tarp Skunks game. Learn more online at ccsolutions716.com.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Whoa, Pre-Comic Book Day is almost here.
There's comic books for all ages.
Stop on down to Chautauqua Comics at 214 Fairmount Avenue in Jamestown and pick up some free comics. From superheroes to science fiction, there are tons of options.
100% free. Just show up on May 7th starting at 11 a.m.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A lawyer for the recently resigned New York Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin says the Democrat has a very lively legal issues from which to challenge corruption charges brought against him. The attorney telling a Manhattan federal judge that he expects to challenge on legal grounds the charges brought against Benjamin last week based on the U.S. Supreme Court's skepticism towards criminal cases against politicians built solely on political contributions. In a written statement issued after the hearings, his defense attorney, Danny James, says they decided to represent Benjamin because they were shocked and dismayed that the prosecution would bring such a flimsy and unwarranted charge against a sitting lieutenant governor so close to a primary election. Benjamin's arrest on the charges alleging he promised to trade his political influence for a real estate developer's campaign contribution created a political crisis for Governor Kathy Hochul, who's also seeking election this fall. The Department of Environmental Conservation has announced an almost $4 million in a conservation partnership grant. It's the largest amount of funding for this project to date, and 51 nonprofit land trusts across New York will be receiving that funding. The announcement was made during New York State's Earth Week celebrations. Governor Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders increased New York's Environmental Protection Fund to $400 million. That's the highest ever level of funding in the program's history. The grant supports climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts and improves agricultural resources to promote substantial agriculture, protects water sources, advances conservation efforts, and provides recreational opportunities for those across New York. And New York's Attorney General is issuing a stern warning to landlords, reminding them that they cannot raise rents if they accepted or plan to accept pandemic assistance funds. AG Letitia James is referring to the state's Emergency Rental Assistance Program, which was recently expanded in the state's budget. Landlords who accept payments for the program, she says, are prohibited from raising rents for a year after they receive the funds. She says the rules are clear. Landlords who accept funds cannot raise rents for 12 months. She urges any tenant who accepted payments and received a new lease with a rent increase to contact her office. The program provides support to low and moderate income tenants across the state who could not pay for rent during the pandemic. Well, we're now 1 month away from the primary elections in Pennsylvania, and there are several Republican candidates running for the governor there, but just one Democrat. And it's a pretty big name. Our state capitol correspondent Brendan Scanlon introduces us to that candidate, Pennsylvania's Attorney General Josh Shapiro.
Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro is no stranger to public service.
I've always been committed to public service.
Before being elected Attorney General in 2016, Shapiro served as chairman of the Montgomery County Commissioners and is also a former state representative. Now he's the lone Democrat running for governor of Pennsylvania.
I'm an executive who knows how to get things done.
Shapiro says he brings a lot to the table with his decades of public service, especially from his time and experience as Attorney General.
I'm not afraid to take on anyone. We take on big fights and we deliver real results.
Perhaps his largest fight, uncovering abuse in the Roman Catholic Church and exposing predator priests.
We exposed the horrible truth of what was going on within the Roman Catholic Church over many years.
There has been a global reckoning.
Although progress has been made, Shapiro says the fight is not over. If elected, he says providing a 2-year window for victims of childhood sexual abuse to confront their abuser in court would be a top priority.
We will get this passed, and these victims will finally get their due.
Other priorities for Shapiro include fighting for fair funding of Pennsylvania's schools.
There are too many schools in Pennsylvania that are being left behind, rural and urban.
Another top priority is economic growth, something he plans to achieve by cutting taxes and wasteful spending, while also taking advantage of unique opportunities Pennsylvania has to offer, like energy.
I think we should be an all of the above energy state.
Shapiro says he knows how to bring both parties together and is prepared to do just that if elected.
You can count on me as someone who's experienced in bringing people together and someone who believes that it's critical that we bring people together to get things done.
In Harrisburg, Brendan Scanlon reporting.
Brendan, thank you. Coming up, the Jamestown Public Market. They're celebrating Earth Day with the Grow Jamestown Garden Fair this weekend. The deets behind that festivity. But first, when we return, a full look at our weather forecast. Looking at it outside, it does not look like spring. Stay with us.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer with a day of fun activities for children in the Jamestown area, hosted by Collaborative Children's Solutions and the City of Jamestown. The first part of the day happens at Northwest Arena, where both kids and parents alike can learn about activities available to youth. Later in the evening, finish out the night at the Tarp Skunk baseball game, along with a fireworks show at Russell Dietrich Jr. Park. Stop on down on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And yeah, let's just get it out of the way. Let's talk about those snowfall totals. Yeah, about 3.7 inches in West Valley, 3 inches in Salamanca, 2 inches in Kennedy, 2 inches here in town, Falconer, 1 inch. In Mayville, about 0.03 of an inch worth of snow over the past 24 hours. Now, you know, when we were looking at the snow totals, we got thinking about this. So what is the snow total for the month? For April. So we're calling it the April snow follies. So here's what's going on. We have 3.5 inches of snow throughout the month. That is how much snow we've had so far in the month of April. That's actually 1 inch above average. We should be around 2.5 inches. So we get snow in April. It happens. So when we did that, we looked at it and we went, okay, what is the most snow we've ever had in the month of April? Well, it's actually almost 30 inches, and that occurred back in 1901. That is even before the Three Stooges. 1901, and most recently back in 2016 we had 8.2 inches throughout the month of April. So snow happens in April, folks. You can see the snow falling on the HD News Now cam right now, 32, freezing even, and it is windy with a west wind of 14 at 26 is the wind gust, so it is going to remain windy throughout the day. First Defense Doppler radar is showing you where that snow is right now, still continuing across basically northern Warren County going into the southern tier, and this is steady state snow, and it's going to continue throughout the afternoon hours. But look at that. That's a big nor'easter that is occurring off the east coast right there. The snow is obviously on the colder side, which is the western side. The warmer side is the eastern side. So that's why there's rain going up into Maine and then going up into Nova Scotia. So let's time it out on the computer modeling with FutureScan. The snow will continue through the afternoon, but notice how it starts to break apart as we go essentially into the evening hours, and then through the overnight hours, the snow will break apart and then just taper off as we go throughout the overnight hours. Tomorrow should be a nice day, partly to mostly sunny. Temperatures budge up a little bit as well, so it won't be as cold, but it still will be just a little bit breezy through the early morning. Then rain will start to come our way as we head into Thursday. So additional snow totals, this is through today. We could be getting close to that 4-inch mark, especially on the hills, but most everybody between 1 to 3. Tomorrow we start the day around 31, but nice and dry. We should go up into the upper 40s. Now the next 7 days of your life, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So 48 tomorrow, 55 on Thursday, comes with some rain showers and also turns windy again, but seasonable Friday, partly to mostly sunny. Saturday, just a couple showers, 65, 76 on Sunday, Justin, and then we will stay in the 70s till early next week, but we do have a better chance of rain next Monday.
Boy, the roller coaster continues, and you know what? I hope we stay up there on the top of the mountain at 76. Like, so much relief if we can just get to Sunday. Thanks, Dakota. Well, a Trump-appointed federal judge has overturned the White House's mask mandate for airplanes and other methods of public transportation. He ruled in Florida Monday that the mandate is unlawful and exceeds the authority of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The Department of Justice has not said if they will try to appeal the ruling to the mask requirement on passengers on airplanes and trains and other transportations. Now, last week, the CDC extended that through May. And Pittsburgh's police chief is asking the hundreds of people who attended a party where 2 teenagers were killed over the weekend to come forward with information about the shooting. Investigators say multiple shooters were involved in that incident, which occurred early Sunday in the city's East Allegheny neighborhood at a property that was rented through a short-term rental company, Airbnb. The teens who were killed were both 17 years old and males, according to the Allegheny County Medical Examiner. 8 others were shot and 5 others were injured while running from the gunfire there. And it might take the post office a little bit longer to deliver your small packages. Monday, the United States Postal Service announced it's updating its first-class delivery standards. But the service is not getting faster. Instead, the USPS will add 1 to 2 days on the delivery of nearly a third of its first-class small packages. The Postal Service says this additional time will allow them to have more time to deliver long distance and to increase the efficiency of their network. They say even a small percentage of customers, about 4%, might see their packages get delivered a day earlier. The Postal Service also plans to change its priority mail delivery, but this time it's dropping the additional day it added back in 2020. Next, a closer look at the Grow Garden Fair taking place this Saturday as Jamestown gets ready for spring.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now. It's not just what we say, it's what we do.
Local first. It isn't just our slogan. It's our mindset. every single day. So whether you're watching our daily live streams or staying up to date with reports on our website and mobile app, you'll always see the same attention to detail from reporters who passionately care about our community, who have one goal in mind: to always put the facts first.
For me, it's more than just getting the forecast right. What I love the most about my job is that I come into work every day to help break down the weather, letting people know how this is going to impact their day. We take pride that First Defense Weather is the only local weather team in the Southern Tier. We don't just copy and paste our weather from outside sources. Every part of our forecast is handmade right here in-house, something our team really takes pride in.
What matters to you matters to us. Every story, every day. WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The Jamestown Public Market is bringing back the annual Grow Garden Fair this weekend with a bit of a twist, an Earth Day celebration. Our Bronson Rasmussen reports.
The event usually takes place earlier in the spring season. However, Market Director Lena Carlson tells us her group pushed it closer to Earth Day this year.
In 2021, the Jamestown Public Market, which runs the Downtown Farmers Market, among other things, took over the organization of this event. And because our mission is to build our food system, we have a big appreciation for the earth.
The Grow Garden Fair's main mission is to educate those with or without green thumbs on how to help nourish plants and cultivate a successful garden.
The beauty about coming out to the garden fair is that you can really learn how to grow your own food. You can learn the resources in the area to help support your flower garden. You can meet with different organizations that are supporting environmental causes. And it's just a great way to come together as a community to learn how we can better support some of these initiatives that are going on in Jamestown.
The free event also features a variety of vendors, including food trucks.
So we're going to have vendors lined up along 3rd Street, outdoors that you can visit with, and we'll have some additional vendors inside the Covenant Manor community space. And then again, our workshops will be up the street at St. Luke's. So we'll have lots of signage directing people, maps and information, and the hope is to really bring downtown, make it come alive.
Excitement for the garden fair is already building.
And I'm just glad they're going to have it down 3rd Street and in our own building, no less.
To learn more, visit the Jamestown Public Market Facebook page. The garden fair kicks off at 10 a.m. and runs until 3 p.m. on Saturday, the 23rd, along 3rd Street between Cherry and Main. Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun coming this weekend, and they'll have good weather for it, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Dakota. But if you're looking out there today, not quite at all, which is just so drastic. I do think this is one of the cool things about Western New York and the fact that we have such a versatile buffet of weather across our area, where we could have snow, blizzard-like conditions one day, and then, you know, beautiful 70 degrees the next, and have a garden fair outside. It's crazy. It's so crazy, but cool. It's cool.
Have you seen the meme on the face bag where it was like, you know, all the seasons combined into 1 week?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, New York's weather?
Yeah, just about.
It's perfect.
Right? Nevertheless, it looks like a good time. Are you much of a green thumb guy?
No.
Yeah, me either.
No. You know, anything, you know, it's really weird because, you know, I'm a hardware guy when it comes to, like, you know, computer stuff. I love getting inside of, you know, computer hardware. But when it comes to, like, growing things or making things out of wood or whatever, I am beyond useless in that.
Yeah, shop class wasn't my favorite. I had a good time, but, you know, the birdhouse never really turned out right. So it does look like a good time. And that's the one thing when you look at events like this garden fair, where they connect you with community resources who can help. And I think Bronson, he had the one lady in there who lives right in that block. You know, she's excited just to finally have something outside again on the street that she can go to and be a part of. So really cool thing. And I've seen a lot of my Facebook friends, they go to the farmers market during the summer and they stock up for the week in many cases. Like, that's their grocery shopping. And it's so cool. I mean, if, you know, as much as everybody loves Wegmans and Wally World, like, if you can get those fresh vegetables from local areas, it's pretty incredible to see nevertheless. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and on our free mobile app. Just search WNY News Now in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. We'll leave you with this live look over Chautauqua Lake, and it's out there somewhere. Stay warm. We'll see you back here tomorrow.